First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am meteorologist Lee Southwick, joined by Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner. And Lou, it is a gray and dreary look out there across the First Coast.
Yeah, it is. And, we've needed the rain. We're flirting with it a little bit today. Kind of a rain tease, honestly. It just looks like it wants to in every single one of our cameras. Nothing heavy out there right now, but there are a couple of spots around the First Coast, Southeast Georgia, getting a little bit. But it's kind of the opening act for kind of the headliner that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, and so, you're talking about the rain. I thought I should pull up radar just to show some places are getting rain, and especially across Southeast Georgia, and Columbia County, we'll take any sort of rain we can get.
Yep.
And luckily, we do have some of those showers out there. So let me just stop this, take it out of play mode, get a closer look. I thought we could first start by doing a quick radar tour. Places like Brunswick, St. Simons Island, getting a good bit of rain right now.
Yeah, and this is, again, not the blinding stuff. Maybe on St. Simons, a little more heavy rainfall, southern end of St. Simons Island and near Jekyll, right over the Sound, over Highway 17, kind of just sandwiched around 95. So you probably have a little wet ride home from work or school today there in 95, and stretching it out towards Ware and Pierce County, so going from Waycross to Blackshear down to Folkestone and Charlton County, Brantley County certainly seeing some needed rain, but mostly this isn't stuff that's going to fill up your rain gauges, right? Not quite yet.
At least, it's still a steadier rain like over St. Simons Island. And then these are just those light showers that are passing quickly. So if you are driving around Northeast Florida, you see some raindrops on your windshield, it will likely not last too long. But why we issued the weather impact alert to start now, or with the rain out there already, is because places like across Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia haven't seen rain in over a month. And so when you think about the amount of grease and oil and dust on those roads, the second rain hits it, it's going to make it very slick and therefore be very dangerous driving conditions. And so that is why we have issued a weather impact alert, even though, Lou, normally we would never issue a weather impact alert for this. What we see is just those dangerous driving conditions.
And I also think it's just been so long. Right? So it's been since October 27th since we've seen it. We haven't had practice. We just need an alert to the idea that there is going to be rain lingering in the area. It's a big kind of change up to what we've seen, over the last month and a half, and just going to kind of continue to monitor it through the evening tonight. Could see some more. So some of your yards out there might get some beneficial rain while you're sleeping tonight. That's the best time for it to rain too, isn't it? When you're sleeping. Though while we get to Tuesday, again, the precursor to the main event, as a pretty good line, looks to move through. This is our in-house model, higher res, so we can kind of pinpoint timing and pattern. But this would suggest maybe even earlier Tuesday, some really heavy rain, even thunderstorms for Southeast Georgia, extending down towards Columbia County.
And then as we advance towards the lunch hour, that's more like Duval County. So people on their lunch break having to deal with some rain around the area. And as you can see there on the screen too, these thunderstorms, they do have a risk of being strong or potentially severe. It's just a very low risk, but still one that we're watching. So with these thunderstorms that are potentially popping up on our Tuesday, I think our greatest risk is that heavy rainfall and therefore the slick roads. Some thunderstorms could have gusty winds, 40 to maybe 60 miles an hour. And we had to mention it, a brief isolated tornado. The risk is so low, but it's not zero, Lou, so that's why we did mention it.
Yeah, with a squall line, if we're getting 40 to 60 mile an hour winds, and you just notice how ahead of this front, you're going to have those strong southwesterly winds feeding some pretty relatively warm, moist air into this line. Behind it, stronger west to northwest winds. So you get that interaction. A little bit of shear certainly could cause a very, very brief, isolated spin up in the form of a tornado. We just don't. We're not ruling it out, but we're definitely saying if that were to happen, that's a very, very low risk in terms of what we do expect for Tuesday. But models have been going back and forth with timing, so we're going to hold it till 5 p.m. Tuesday. That our in-house model would suggest an earlier exit, but we will watch our more southern counties, St. Johns County in particular, down towards Putnam, Flagler as well, through the later hours as the that line exits the area. So watch for some rain. That lunch hour will be very important earlier in the morning, pre-lunch for southeast Georgia, okay, for some blinding rain and even some thunderstorms. Then what you need to do as far as preparing for your Tuesday, find wherever the rain gear has been. If you've hidden it, you've just forgotten it. If it's buried under a bunch of stuff in the trunk, dig that out and be ready with your rain gear and be extra careful during times of the commute.
And I was thinking about that. I had to think about where I put my umbrella last. I don't know. Do you keep it in the same spot?
It's in my, I do have one in my back seat.
Nice.
And I have one in my golf bag.
Oh, perfect.
So those are my two spots. So I do know where to grab them if I have to.
That's good.
Generally not the biggest umbrella guy.
Yeah.
Just out of plain stubbornness. I need to get better about it.
I love when a meteorologist gets caught in the rain.
Yes, isn't that great? And then the people in the Publix parking lot can point and laugh.
Yeah.
Something else. Speaking of Publix, and Publix came to mind because of grocery shopping. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good.
Yeah?
Mine was actually very quiet and
Okay.
relaxing.
Okay.
Just saw the family in Fernandina, and I made my green bean casserole. I don't know if I don't think you got looped into this, but I talked about green bean casserole probably for 7 days straight leading up to Thanksgiving.
Because you get excited about it?
It's my favorite dish of all time, and no one else likes it.
What?
And so
I love green bean casserole. It's my favorite. I love it.
I think Marlo, you liked it, right?
Yes.
Marlo liked it,
Marlo
and
likes
Ross
everything.
liked it. And so that made me really happy when I was doing a stream with Ross, and he was like, it's good. Thank goodness, because
love it.
I've been made fun of so much for the green bean casserole.
Green bean casserole takes a lot of flack, and I don't get it. It's just good.
It is good.
There's nothing better than the little French fried onions on
Nice
on
and
top.
crispy
No, it's
and
great.
salty
Yep.
and delicious. So I made green bean casserole because I'm one of the only people in my family that eats it, but I want it there, so I make it.
You gotta have it.
So I make it. And then since there's no other vegetables for my family, I made a salad, and then I caught a lot of flack for that too. Like my dad was like, we're not supposed to be eating healthy on Thanksgiving. Why'd you make a salad?
That's why you put a bunch of salad dressing on it.
I
then
had bacon
boom,
bits and croutons. Like, you didn't have to make it healthy.
Right.
I don't know. What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Well, we're just going to do it in the sides category here because not with the mains.
You like turkey?
I like turkey. I do like turkey. So of course, but now that we've gone and I'm thinking back, and I didn't make it this year, but cornbread dressing. My grandmother, my mother, all the women on my kind of the maternal side of my family, between my mom, her sisters, and their mom who's gone now, but they made just the best cornbread dressing, and I've tried to duplicate it, and I can never quite do it right. But I think there's something to the nostalgia of it and them doing it, and it's the best. But that's my absolute favorite.
Okay.
So that, and then green bean. I like green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, and macaroni and cheese. All that.
I
bring
knew
all
I
of
was
it.
on a good team here. Green bean casserole team.
Do you now your green bean casserole? Do you follow the basic recipe that's on the
Yeah, I
onion ring?
Googled Campbell's
And that's what you
recipe,
did. That's
and that's what
okay.
I use. Yeah, well, I don't make any. I also use canned green beans. I do not use fresh green beans. No, it's
Same. Easy and good. Well, I mess with it with perfection.
So speaking of turkey, because like my dad always fries the turkey and it's excellent. But this year my brother also made ribs fall off the bone.
Whoa.
We decided that's what
a
we're going to do
curveball.
from here on out. Forget the turkey, forget the ham. We're doing ribs.
Well, we had to catch up. I had to catch up with Lee because I haven't seen her since before Thanksgiving. So we had to have that quick chat. But we're going to take a short break. When you come back, a little bit more, on the storms that we can anticipate for a Tuesday, and a little bit of a look ahead through the week. So stay with us. All right, so full up, fresh off our Thanksgiving talk, which I appreciated.
Now I'm hungry.
Now I am hungry too. Yeah, I don't even know.
And I already ate all my leftovers.
I've been eating candy,
Yeah.
and that's brutal.
Go
And
back to Halloween at that point.
I know, we're good. We're flashing way back. 7-day forecast for you. So what you'll notice, there's several opportunities for rain on this 7-day. Of course, we're going to focus on our weather impact alert for our Tuesday, with that 80% of us seeing showers, maybe not at any one given time. And it's one of those situations we've said before, it's not an all day everyone rain. It'll come in waves. It'll come in a line across the first coast. I think we'll all have a good chance of seeing at least a little bit of some shower activity for our Tuesday. We're going to take what we can get. A little bit of a break for Wednesday, Thursday. We got some cold air coming in behind the system that's going to bring us our chance of a shower. So mornings back in the 40s, afternoons struggling to reach the mid 60s. So a little more mix of sun and with clouds out there and that north wind. So we're bundling back up for midweek. We gradually try to warm up though by Friday, but that's when we reintroduce Lee our chances of rain, which we're going to need to watch modeling, and we're going to need to check out some timing as we get closer. We want to fine tune this because we got a pretty big weekend ahead of us.
So just for transparency's sake for all of you watching, because if you're watching, you obviously like to stay in touch with the weather. Maybe you're weather nerds like us. We look at a lot of models and atmospheric setups for when it comes to rain and these systems that move through. And the weekend is a tough one. Now, I think we all agree Saturday it's going to rain.
Yeah.
In fact, we might even issue a weather impact alert for that. But Sunday, that's tricky. There is a scenario where it completely dries out.
Correct.
And then there's another scenario where it lingers and rains a good bit on Sunday.
Yeah. So that's why we need a little time. Confidence still kind of on the low side for Sunday. If again, the weather nerds out there, if you look at the American model, the GFS, you might see a little bit more rain. If you look at the European model, you'd see a lot less. You'd see that clearing out quick, which of course Sunday's important. We got Jags football coming home, big division game, battle for first place in the AFC South up against the Colts on Sunday. And we're going to watch Saturday. We're leaning towards a weather impact alert day just so because it's a weekend, and if we get any rain, it's going to mess up some outdoor plans, and that's where our confidence growing there. So just let's plan on seeing some rain Saturday. But Sunday, even if there's just going to be a little bit of rain within that game time, we may light the 7-day up red for Sunday as well, just so anybody's going to be tailgating or heading to some Jags football is very, very prepared, at least with a poncho for that game Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm going to the game on Sunday for a bit before work. I have tickets. I'm really excited. I want to tailgate. I want to get out there.
Yep.
So I don't want it to rain. But then we look at our drought monitor and it's like, oh, man, I'll take all the rain we can get too at the same time. We do need the rain, so it is nice to see chances for rain on the 7-day.
Yeah, things getting a little more progressive, more systems kind of coming across the United States, some trying to develop out of the Gulf. We need more. If we want rain, what we need is these lows kind of getting geared up out of the Gulf, almost these little mini clippers that'll come out of the Gulf and then boogie right up the Atlantic coast. And with that, you get more moisture. So we'll watch for those types of systems akin to what we're getting tomorrow, a little more Gulf moisture trying to pull in, because we've seen a lot of fronts come through. And why we've got this drought right now, we've seen front after front. We've had the cold air. We've had the wind shifts. We've had the bone dry air. That's indicative of fronts passing. But what happens with a lot of these fronts that we'll see bring some rain to the middle part of our country, by the time they get here, they dry out and they lose their dynamics. So we need a little bit different orientation with some moisture coming out of the Gulf. And yeah, it was bone dry the entire month of November. This is
the first time it's happened.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about the monthly record here, Lee.
So records date back to 1870.
65? 75?
71?
Was it a 5? Is it multiples of 5? They go back a long way, to the 1800s.
Back to the 1800s.
There
We'll
you go.
keep it at that.
Yeah.
And since we began keeping records with the Jacksonville International Airport there, we've never been completely dry for the month of November. We got close in the 70s. There was a year where we only had a trace amount, but we didn't even get that this month. So with that big fat goose egg of 0,
That's crazy.
That makes it the driest November on record, not only at the Jacksonville International Airport, but also for Craig Executive Native and in Gainesville.
Yeah.
All of them stayed completely dry. So usually we get 2 inches of rain for the month of November. We didn't get that, but this puts us behind by 10 inches for the year. So that's why we have the drought out there across the First Coast. Also, we have now placed 7th driest fall, meteorological fall. So September, October, and November, 7th driest on record there too.
Yeah, because we haven't had rain since October 27th. So and really we say this is the driest November on record. I mean, it will be forever and ever now because you can't get any drier than 0.00. So at least if nothing else, it'll be tied forever and ever this November of 2025. Wild to think not a single day we got any measurable rainfall, any rainfall at all. It was, you remember, just totally bone dry. We had fronts, and as you know, we had a couple of cold snaps, and we've had some cold air try and make its way in, but just rainless.
And also, it's a dry fall because usually we get some sort of tropical system.
Correct.
And we didn't. So we're done with hurricane season. We made it through without any impacts. It was also, when you look at the numbers, it looks like a quieter year, but Lou, we know it wasn't. We know it was a very active year. Now I can see why people would think that because you see 13 named storms, which is lower than the 14 on average. 5 hurricanes out of what 7's normal, but 4 of those were major hurricanes, and not only that, but 3 of those were Category 5 hurricanes. And so when you have those strong and long duration hurricanes, that's when it becomes above average. It's ACE, so accumulated cyclone energy, which takes into account the duration and strength of all of our named storms in a hurricane season, and that was above average.
Yeah, and you think about Melissa, and you don't get much stronger than what Melissa did. I mean, 185 mile an hour winds, gusts at 252 miles an hour. This is the strongest, tied for the strongest landfalling hurricane in the Atlantic Basin. Of course, that hit Jamaica and then through Cuba and parts of the Bahamas, the southern Bahamas. So yeah, very active and very, very strong, like skewed to the strong end were these hurricanes. And we also had some kind of unusual developments in our hurricane season. While we didn't have any impacts, we had things like Imelda and Umberto do their kind of dance.
Yeah.
The Fujiwara dance that we saw, we had Imelda develop essentially right there in the Bahamas. And for a while, we were thinking maybe that we would at least get some rainfall accumulation, and we didn't get too much. We had those big nor'easters through October, but not much. So while we did have a landfalling tropical storm for the Carolinas early in the season, we had no landfalling hurricane for the first time since 2015. That's significant. But we had some impacts nonetheless with erosion up and down the East Coast and things that impacted like the Outer Banks. But you know what? For Northeast Florida, we will take this hurricane season and put that in the back pocket and just kind of be happy that we didn't get any direct impacts. It's 4:50, which means we got to take another break. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
righty. So it's December. Happy December.
Happy December, December 1. And this is an interesting look. Climate Prediction Center giving us the warmer than normal vibes is this the next 6 to 10 days? Or is this the whole December?
All of December.
All of December. Interesting, this would be, and they're probably taking into account La Nina. And while we are getting La Nina signals, maybe a weaker La Nina than we've had in the past. And a La Nina would suggest drier, warmer through the winter. But with it being on the weaker side of things, I tend to think we're going to see our chances for rain. But nonetheless, we are looking and kind of leaning towards what the CPC is saying was we watch for some warmer temperatures. What would be normal? All right, so as we go through the month of December, normal is about 68 degrees, 67.5 if you want to split the difference there, with lows in the mid 40s. And we being above that, anything above 67.5, if we're getting those 70s, that's what they generally mean. Now, we're not talking about true heat wave type elements where we're seeing 80s and 90s, but certainly maybe warmer than normal, avoiding any deep freezes.
And then you talking about rain, it's interesting. We're right on the edge where they actually, if we zoom in here, you'll see they're thinking that we'll be about average to maybe a little bit drier than normal. So, and again, this is not set in stone by any means. This is just what there are very smart scientists and climatologists out there at the Climate Prediction Center, and they're thinking it's going to be, at least for, we'll say, Northeast Florida, maybe just a little bit less rainfall than normal. And what's normal? It's about 2.78 inches for the month of December at the Jacksonville Airport.
Yeah, so we got some work to do to catch up with our deficit. We're not going to, because we are 10 inches below normal for the year. But it's so with a La Nina, we need dips in the jet stream, and things look awfully zonal, and meaning the jet just kind of runs west to east and stays north. It prevents any of these big polar air outbreaks like we saw a couple of times already this season so far, where we had our couple of freezes that we've experienced. But CPC would suggest maybe this is going to happen less over the month of December.
And December is the start of meteorological winter. Today started it, December 1st. So December, January, and February, that's meteorological winter. And we take a look at the outlook for winter. Same story here.